Girls of Reddit, what was the best flirting technique someone did to you? I started dating the university's lone wolf and was extremely surprised to find how incorrigible a flirt he was. But he didn't speak my native language, he was not from my state, and my parents wouldn't have approved of our relationship. When I told him I didn't want to lead him on, he said we would try our best, and if it didn't work out he would take full responsibility for his broken heart and that I need not feel pressured. The feeling of liberation I felt cinched the deal for me. Looking back, I am strangely touched by how he, an introvert, had allowed himself to be openly vulnerable in front of me. After 7 years of a solid relationship, which included 3 years of wearing my parents down to accept him, we got married a couple of months ago. Not sure if this counts as flirting, but he read my favorite book just so we'd have something in common to talk about. I met my, now, husband while I was in the hospital. He worked there and I was a frequent patient, unfortunately. Anyway, he would bring daffodils to my room. Or apple juice. He snuck me extra warm blankets and would sit with me before/after his shift. When I got out, he offered to get groceries and wash my hair. All of it just as a friend. He knew I wasn't interested in dating while going through everything, and so he was just there. Turns out I happen to like him there, and we are celebrating our 12th anniversary this year. I had a boyfriend who was really into working out and martial arts. I asked him to show me a move and he swept my feet out from under me, then caught me and kissed me. Hottest thing ever. Flirted with my dog first. We'd met previously and he was trying to get out of the friend zone quickly. I told him I was too busy to date. He offered to hang out with me while I plowed through a ton of errands, including an oil change, getting gas, returning shoes, picking up cleaning, and blowing up balloons for a party. It was so nice to have support of me being me and me doing stuff, and it was nice low-key, no pressure hanging out to get to know each other. I was so busy that day I forgot to eat lunch and he got me a donut and coffee. I married him. He said, "I have a riddle for you." Then he took my hand and traced a line down the middle of my palm. This is a river. It is too wide to jump over, too deep to wade across, too fast to swim across, and too long to go around. There is a bunny stuck on one side of it. How does the bunny cross the river? After about 10 minutes of me trying to guess the answer, I gave up and asked him how the bunny got across the river. He said, "Who cares? I just wanted to hold your hand." I'm British, and I came over to the States on a temporary work visa, to do one ski season with Vail Resorts. I was bartending at an on-mountain restaurant, and a couple of snowboarders come in and start talking to me. It came up that I was only there for the season. Then one of them says, "I'll marry you so you can stay, but we have to go on a date first." We just celebrated our 13-year anniversary, and I'm still in Colorado. A guy told me that he liked my shoes and asked where I'd gotten them. We were in a bowling alley. We were 15. Opening credits of the movie started. He put his arm around me and said, "If I'm going to start flirting, I'd better start early." Been together 23 years. I was walking on my university campus, tripped and dropped my books. Heeled sandals, raised sidewalk, he asked me if I was okay, and picked up my books. He then carried my books and walked me to class. We chatted the entire walk, and when we got to my class, he asked for my phone number. I tore off a piece of paper, and wrote it, but without my name. I wanted to see if he was listening when I told him. He listened. We've been married over 20 years. He makes me smile every day. Not me, but my mom. My mom and dad were set up by a friend of theirs. My mom is... Upon being told this before he met her, my dad went out and learned as much sign language as he could before he met her. My mom doesn't know sign language, adorable and hilarious. Last year of college for us. He'd show up after my classes and follow me around everywhere, talking incessantly. When he'd see me on campus he'd run over to say hi. I would flirt by sometimes picking a little wildflower to give to him when I saw him next that day. He'd wear it in his shirt or behind his ear. We now have 2 sons and he's taught the older one, younger is a baby, to give me little wildflowers when we're out walking together. When I was 10 I received a love letter from a boy. It contained a flower inside, and at the bottom of the letter he wrote some cheat codes for Mortal Kombat for me. He knew I was always playing that game on my Sega. Told me at a Halloween party that he had his eye on me. Proceeded to hand me a squishy eyeball. I was in Chicago on business, got a horrible migraine, and had to cancel a meeting with a man I had met with, for work, the day before. I get really bad migraines, really, really bad. After it was over I had to get a bit of food and something to drink, but it was very late and there was no way I would survive any kind of car/cab ride. He was the only person I knew in town, so I sent him a text to see if he knew of anything in my area that would be safe/open that late within walking distance. He drove 30 minutes across town in the middle of the night to walk me to a 24-hour restaurant and buy me dinner. I've been with him for 11 years now. Told me he liked to draw and asked for my number so he could send me some examples. Then he freehanded a picture of a moose for me. He bought me the book I was looking at in the bookstore. I once had a guy walk up to me at a bar and said, "Hello, my name is Rob and I'll be hitting on you tonight, what can I get you to drink?" Silly, playful, and direct. We dated for about 8 months. Edit. For anyone wanting to use this line, he said it in a playful way with a huge smile. It was my first day in middle school and this kid asked to see my planner. I handed it to him and he flipped to the contact section and left me his name and number. I'll never forget how smooth he was. We met at a Halloween house party and when I was going to leave he walked me to the room with all the coats which also happened to be a kid's room and he asked me what color crayon would you like to write your phone number with. I married him. Celebrated 20 years. He said I caught feelings for you and I looked at him confused, but blushing he showed me my screen and that he had caught a Pokemon for me and gave it the nickname Feelings. We are married and have 2 kids now. Just being genuinely nice. My boyfriend was too shy to flirt with me at first since we're only friends, so he texted me saying I looked really nice that day after seeing me, and it was such a simple thing but it really made my day better. And that can let the person know you are interested in them. It doesn't need to be a big scheme. He did my dishes. Asking me my favorite Lego Star Wars character. He kind of ruined it though by trying to kiss me 2 minutes later. Ah, kindergarten. Years and years ago I worked at Florist where the owner illegally hired mostly Mexican girls in the States to learn English. They went to school, but worked for a rate that wasn't even minimum wage. It was super shady, but I loved working with them. We would make up little games to teach me Spanish/them English. Anyway, this Latin guy comes in one day and one of the girls is helping him. He wants to get a bouquet for a girl he likes, so she takes him around the store, showing him what she thinks are the best flowers. She wraps it all up for him and right as he pays, he writes his number on the paper and hand them to her. I was floored, it was so smooth. She was completely unfazed, like oh that's how men are like where I'm from, men don't do that here? I was like, nope. Was riding home with the friends group back in 2008. We stopped to drop off the one guy, and I got out to stretch. I mentioned that the stars were so much more visible up there in the mountains and he said, yeah, they're really pretty. Wish I had someone to watch 'em with. I'm a sucker for corny guys. We got married the next year and are celebrating 12 years this June. He brought me a huge tub of my favorite ice cream flavor after hearing that I was having a bad day. Made eye contact, asked interesting questions, listened to my answers and responded. He didn't make the conversation about him. Hey, do you want to help me throw fruit at my friends? 16-year-old boy at summer camp, holding a bunch of oranges, who wanted to meet me. I was also 16 at the time. First time I hung out at my current BF's house before we started dating. We were laying on the floor listening to records and he turned to ask me what time it was. I think it was 4 if I remember. He then said, "Wow, you've been here 4 hours and I haven't kissed you yet." Still makes me smile, and needless to say, it worked very well. He bought me a giant bag of beef jerky. A few years later he was tossing pebbles at my dorm window with another bag of beef jerky and roses. He was a great boyfriend. Ended up being a shitty husband though. Will always be in love with the person he was before that, however.